Hello, and welcome to our Candidates Forum series. This forum features candidates running for Sacramento County Board of Supervisors in District 2. Today, we'll be hearing from candidates Ronald Bell and from Patrick Kennedy. My name is Roseanne Chamberlain. I'm a member of the Sacramento County League of Women Voters, and I'll be serving as the moderator. I'm a member volunteer for League of Women Voters. The League is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization of men and women that encourages citizens to be informed and to participate in government at all levels. We're frequently called upon to provide election forums because of the League's reputation for fairness and for the open exchange of ideas. As moderator, my job is to keep order, keep track of the timing and the questions and the answers. Here's how we'll be proceeding today. Each candidate has drawn a number to determine their order for the speaking. All candidates will answer the same questions. Each candidate will give an opening statement of 2 minutes, and then we'll ask and answer the questions in alternating order. The answers will be 1 minute in duration. Lastly, we will have a 1.5-minute closing statement in the reverse order of the opening statements. Let's begin with the opening statement from Patrick Kennedy.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Bell, welcome to our chambers.
Thank you.
4 years ago, I decided to run for county supervisor after being a neighborhood leader in both Oak Park, Hollywood Park, serving 11 years on the City Planning Commission, and then 2 terms on the school board. I'm committed to public service, and when the opportunity arose, I stepped up. I did so with the intention of concentrating on 4 specific issues. 1, mental health services in the county were broken. I worked hard to fix that. 2, our homeless population was growing rapidly. We have since created tremendous homeless programs and opportunities. 3, I wanted to provide more opportunities for our youth, and I've done that. And finally, flood protection. There's no area in Sacramento that's perhaps in more flood danger than the District 2 is, and I worked hard to create greater flood protection while bringing down flood insurance rates for all of the residents of District 2. That's why I ran 4 years ago, that's why I'm running again now, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Good. And Mr. Bell.
First of all, I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for this forum. I'm honored to be sitting here on this dais today. I'm running for county supervisor for District 2 because it's my neighborhood, it's my community. I've lived there for over 30 years. My children attended the schools in District 2. And over the 30 years, I have seen our community slowly deteriorate. I have seen the services that were once abundant go down to nil. And what I want to do is return District 2 back to the level that it once was, in which my children enjoyed a safe and robust education. One of the main things on my platform are our children's safety while they attend our schools. As we know throughout our country now, we now have the possibility that your little Johnny or your little Susie may not come home from school once they are dropped off. So that's one of my major platforms, is ensuring that your child will come home once they have gone to school. The second one, of course, is homelessness. What we're seeing now are younger people being homeless. And we know it's because some of it is due to the fact that we built Golden 1. And so a lot of the SRO, those single resident occupied rooms, are gone here in downtown Sacramento. So we have to get these people off the streets. And finally, crime. Even though we don't have a high level of crime in South Sacramento in District 2, it nevertheless is a nuisance to many of the homeowners. And so I'm asking for your vote on June 5th as the new leader for District 2, Sacramento County Supervisor.
Thank you. We'll turn now to the questions portion of the forum, and the first question will be answered by Patrick Kennedy. What do you see as the most important issues for the Board of Supervisors in the upcoming year? Short time frame.
Well, so I'm going to repeat what I already said in my opening, because those issues are still front and center and something that I will continue to focus on, and that's mental health services, including behavioral health, which is drug and alcohol programs, homeless programs. As I said, we have created a number of opportunities for homeless programs, but we need to do more, and we need to continue those efforts. Thirdly, opportunities for our youth in our community. That's bringing mentoring programs and internship programs, as well as health and safety programs to our schools and to our communities. And finally, flood protection isn't over. It's something that's ongoing, and particularly in the Pocket and Greenhaven areas, we have to continue to strengthen our levees and provide greater flood protection throughout our community.
Okay. And I can repeat the question if you need me to do so when it's your turn to answer.
Okay, would you please?
Yes, I will. What do you see as the most important issues for the Board of Supervisors in the upcoming year? And that would be a short time frame.
Currently, I think that the issues affecting District 2 are out of sync with the reality of what goes on the ground in District 2. I think the number one issue that's facing District 2 is our students. Currently, over 57% of our students are not reading at grade level. So education has to be a number one priority for anyone who occupies the seat of supervisor for District 2. The achievement gap between people of color, students of color, is widening. And so something must be done to ensure that every child is receiving an equal education. I think also that our teachers must be paid a salary that is commensurate with the work that they do in educating our children. So without question, the number one issue that we have to address is the education issue in District 2.
Thank you. Moving on to the second question, and this one has two clauses. What are the most effective long-term strategies the county can use to invest in unincorporated South Sacramento neighborhoods where residents argue they've been overshadowed by investment elsewhere in the county? And that will be answered first by Ronald Bill.
It's interesting. It's a good question, and it's because I've recently spoke with some residents who reside in a place called Silver Springs, and they are currently very upset with Mr. Kennedy because of a contract in which a piece of land, 90 acres, was to remain clear and open land in perpetuity forever. And it seems as though there have been some changes made to the original agreement so that 48 homes are going to be built there. The county has to maintain some degree of open areas. I think that many people are leaving the city center to reside in those areas in which they have a little bit more freedom and in which they can walk freely in their neighborhoods without the hustle and bustle of traffic, without the hustle and bustle of the sights and sounds of downtown living. So we're going to have to be expeditious in how we build out in the county.
Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes,
Thank
I'd
you.
be happy
Thank
to.
you.
What are the most effective long-term strategies the county can use to invest in unincorporated South Sacramento neighborhoods where residents argue they've been overshadowed by investment elsewhere in the county?
Well, first of all, you can't have healthy communities without healthy businesses, and you can't have healthy businesses without healthy neighborhoods. So we need to continue to focus on both. One way to do that is to continue to focus on our PBIDs, the business districts along the corridors in Sacramento, much of which are in the unincorporated area. For example, Mack Road. They've done a tremendous job on Mack Road with the Mack Road Partnership in building up the neighborhoods around Mack Road, which has actually helped the businesses thrive. Along Florin Road, the same thing. So until we really beef up and concentrate on bringing in new business and fortifying those businesses that are there today, we're not going to see the type of investment in South Sacramento that we need to see.
Thank you. And you'll start with the first answer on the next question.
Very good.
Sheriff Jones met with President Trump this year and described Sacramento as ground zero in the battle over sanctuary cities. Where should the county stand when it comes to sanctuary status?
Well, I think the sheriff is dead wrong on that. I think that I'm proud that Sacramento City, where I live, is a sanctuary city. I think that the Trump administration and what they're doing in deportations and the threat of ICE in our community is a travesty. So I will continue to work to protect the citizens of Sacramento as well as the non-citizens of Sacramento. I have, as a matter of fact, instituted a program which is bringing out to schools education so that families understand if deportation should happen, what will happen to their kids, how we can reunify the families as quickly as possible, making sure that families have a plan so that should deportation happen, those children, many of whom are citizens, we know what's going to happen to them and they have someplace to go. They're safe and they're protected.
Thank you. And do you want me to read the question?
No, ma'am, I understand the question. The current Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to accept federal funds to beef up a program that would allow Sacramento County Sheriff officers to arrest and detain whom they deem to be illegal immigrants. The program has been up and running. They are making inroads and forays into our communities, especially District 2. I would say probably 30 days ago, a number of arrests were made of illegal immigrants by the Sacramento County Sheriff, and they're currently housed in our jails. I think that with Sacramento being a sanctuary city, that the Sacramento County Sheriff has no business whatsoever of arresting and detaining any illegal immigrant and holding them for ICE. As a local community that consists of a large contingent of Hispanic and Latino neighbors and citizens, that for the sheriff to be a part of that is wrong.
Thank you. And the next question goes first to you. What should be the county's specific approach to reduce homelessness? And how would you balance enforcement and providing services to people living on the street? So it's a two-part question.
Okay. The solution to homelessness is building more homes. And there have been a lot of ideas bandied about. The one that I find to be the most favorable for Sacramento is to begin to build homes and apartment buildings near transportation outlets. I know in District 7 we just had the Blue Line expanded that ends at Cosumnes River College, and there are currently some apartment buildings that are located in that area, but we need to begin to build more apartment buildings near these various transportation hubs to house people. Also, we need to also consider the single resident occupants, these SRO homes that, again, were once occupied here in downtown Sacramento. We need to begin to look at those people who are just by themselves and cannot afford the high rent. However, they would be very comfortable in just a single family dwelling.
Thank you.
I'm good. First of all, going back to the last question, Mr. Bell's just wrong. This county board of supervisors did not unanimously agree to the ICE contract. I wasn't even on the board at that time. Regarding the homelessness, we have adopted at the county recently a 4-part program to increase the number of shelters and the opportunities for people to partake in those shelters, lowering the barriers, allowing more families, allowing dogs, allowing possessions and so forth, and partners, so we don't break up families. Most importantly, of the 4-part, the pillared program, though, I think, is what I refer to as the frequent flyer program. That's identifying those 250 top users of city and county services who are homeless. If we can identify those people who are the hardest to serve, and we can get them off the street and into permanent supportive housing, we can then take over $11 million and repurpose that money back into homeless programs, and we could save another 500 people. I welcome you to go to the county's website to look at our program.
Thank you. And the next question will go to you, too, for the first answer. Regarding the American River Parkway and its problems, which I will not name, What measures are you willing to support to combat those problems?
Well, I actually already have, and it's making a tremendous difference. One of the things that we have done recently on the Board of Supervisors is increase funding by over $5 million specifically for the Parkway. In doing that, we have worked with the Solid Waste Authority, which I'm also on that board, to increase the amount of garbage cleanup along the Parkway. We're putting more navigators, homeless navigators on the Parkway, so as not to arrest people for being homeless, because homelessness is not a crime, but to divert people to to programs that will provide the need that they need, those programs that they need. And we've also increased actually the animal control presence on the Parkway, because as we know, there's been incidents of dogs not being properly cared for and leashed and attacking people. Those are some of the things that we've done, and that $5 million was not a one-time infusion. That $5 million will continue on an annual basis.
Thank you. Do you want me to repeat the
No,
question?
ma'am, I got the question. My wife and I, we walk along those parkways. Most of them are really beautiful. The money that has been spent thus far has improved them significantly. However, those river edges are where many of Sacramento homeless people actually build their campsites out. So they bring a blight to the improvements that have been made along the Parkway. Until we address the homeless problem in a very significant way, all the work that's going to be done along our river parkways are going to be for naught, because what we're going to run into when people use those parkways are a group of homeless families, homeless individuals who are just simply trying to make it day to day. I think here at City Center, we don't see as much of it, and so the work that's been done on the American River, on our River Parkway, has been quite impressive, and I think it will continue to be with just a little bit more funding.
Thank you. This may be our last question. I'm watching the time here. How should the county get involved with concealed carry laws? You're first.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
We need to rein Sheriff Jones in. I met with him week before last, and he admitted he issued 15,000 CCWs, and to me, that's almost the population of the city of Davis, university I graduated from. And to me, no one should be given a CCW just because they're a friend of Sheriff Jones. I think that there are legitimate reasons why anyone would want to carry a concealed weapon, but when 15,000 of them are issued by our county sheriff, that causes me great concern. Oftentimes we hear how various guns are stolen, not only out of policemen's vehicles, but private citizens' vehicles as well. And to know that there are 15 concealed weapon permits here in the city of Sacramento just gives me a great cause of concern. And I think that the county should have a bigger role in determining who get those CCW permits.
I'm good. Well, unfortunately, the county has not a lot to say about CCWs as the Board of Supervisors, because it's in the law that it's under the capacity of the sheriff. I have been a loud and vocal critic of the CCW policies that the sheriff has been undertaking, and he knows it. In order to change that, though, I am working with Assemblymember Kevin McCarty to do that at the legislature. We had a bill before the legislature last year that would at least allow it, so that we didn't have to pay for CCWs out of the general fund of the county, because currently they cost about $300 per person out of the general fund. I don't think that we should be paying for something that I don't believe in. Unfortunately, the governor vetoed that bill, but we then went back to the legislature and got an audit done, and we hope to see new legislation that will curtail the number of concealed weapons permits that we have in Sacramento County.
Thank you. We'll turn now to the closing statements, and Ronald Bill will go first. This is a 1.5 minute.
Okay. We need to build a lot more housing in Sacramento. I'm hurt by the level of homelessness in our city. It's an issue that has to be taken up by the County Board of Supervisors. It has to be something that the representative for District 2 has uppermost in a problem that has to be solved. We have to build more market size and subsidized low income housing. And that's why I'm running. I'm running so that we can meet the needs of our current and our future population. We are continuing to have huge numbers of young people out there with no place to live. And so until we address this homeless problem, I think it's going to cause a ripple effect with many of the other problems that go along with homeless people on the streets. Crime will go down if we address the homeless problem. We will also have cleaner neighborhoods if we address the homeless problem. So I'm running to find homes for the large number of homeless people that currently reside in South Sacramento's District 2.
Thank you. And the closing statement?
Thank you very much, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for being here today. County supervisor is a very serious job. A lot of people don't know what we do. We have a $4.7 billion budget. We govern over a county that has 1.5 million people. 13,000 employees. It's a tough job, and it's a job that I've enjoyed and I think I'm good at. I said when I got here that I would work on redesigning our mental health programs. I did that. I said that I would increase our services for the homeless population. I did that. I said that I would increase opportunities for youth. I did that. I said that I would increase flood protection throughout the county and lower flood insurance rates. I did that. I'm running because I'm a fourth-generation Sacramentan. I love Sacramento. I love this county, and I believe that I'm the best person for this job. I hope you'll vote for me between now and June 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to our audience and all of those who will be watching this candidates forum. The goal of League of Women Voters is to help every voter make the best informed decision that they can when they cast their ballot at the poll. And this year, we have some big changes that have occurred in the way that people can vote. We are no longer limited to voting on one day in specific neighborhood locations. There are now 3 ways to vote. Every registered voter has received a ballot, hopefully. They were mailed to every registered voter in the county this week. And there are 3 ways that you can make your vote count. Most importantly, you need to complete the ballot and sign it. Some ballots are received unsigned by the registrar of voters, and they're hoping everyone understands that they have to get their signature on the ballot forms as directed. You can drop that ballot in a drop box in a number of locations throughout the county. Every single public library in the county has a drop box location for voting in this election. You can vote in person in the same way that you used to do at any vote centers throughout the county, and those addresses will be listed on the ballot pamphlet. And the third, perhaps the most convenient way to vote, is to mail your ballot directly in. The ballot requires 2 stamps, and the registrar of voter tells us that if any are received without the full postage on them, that they will cover that cost so that those mailed-in ballots will all count. The League of Women Voters also encourages you to learn as much as you possibly can about all the candidates and the ballot measures that will be contained on the election for this June election. Voting will begin in any of the 3 ways I mentioned on May 8th, so you can do it over a much broader span of time. There are websites available where you can get additional information. One is easyvoterguide.org. Another is votersedge.org for in-depth ballot information. You can also look at sacramento.vote for making plans for how to best get your vote submitted. And you can watch the rerun of each of these forums with the candidates on sacmetrocable.tv. The League of Women Voters encourages you to be sure to vote this year. Your vote counts more than ever. League of Women Voters is where hands-on work to safeguard democracy leads to civic improvement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.